Hundreds of ultra-right-wing Israeli nationalists have made incursions into Aqsa Mosque compound at the start of Israel's so-called Flag Day. Among them were a number of current and former Israeli ministers and members of the Knesset. Access to the compound used to be coordinated with the Palestinian authorities, but that's not happening anymore. Many Palestinians see this as a provocation. The Palestinians in occupied East Jerusalem have been forced to close their shops. Israeli settlers standing alongside Israeli forces were seen attacking Palestinians in the old city. Several arrests were made. On this day, Israelis mark the 1967 capture of occupied East Jerusalem by holding marches. The old city is not internationally recognized as part of Israel, despite Israel annexing it. Willem Marx is at Damascus Gate in occupied East Jerusalem, where the Flag Day March is going to be passing in about an hour or so. What's it like there so far, Willem?
Well, Rob, the natural auditorium around Damascus Gate behind me is already filling up with hundreds of people. You can hear them, many of them waving the Israeli flag, some of them sitting there very simply watching events unfold. There's a significant police presence. We just spoke to one of the spokespeople for the Israeli police here in Jerusalem. He told us there were 3,000 officers on the streets today. Over the course of the last few hours, we have seen some scuffles, some altercations between individuals on both sides of this obviously long-time divide. And at the moment, I have to tell you, it's relatively peaceful.
We have seen very tense and indeed violent situations where you are at Damascus Gate in the past. Al Jazeera has been covering those. It does, as you say, seem to be different this time. Why is that?
Well, certainly over the course of the last 2 or 3 hours when we were inside the old city, just off to the side of me here, we did see young Israelis, ultranationalists, marching through the area in small clusters, occasionally provoking, talking to shopkeepers. Some of them ended in scuffles. Many of the Palestinians that we spoke to over the course of that little walkabout told us they were slightly resigned to this situation. While they're upset that they're having to close their businesses often 5 hours earlier than normal and they're losing customers and therefore income, many of them told us there wasn't a huge amount they could do. They do feel that this is an occupied city. They do resent the fact that these young people come, many of them young people I should say, and taunt them in their place of work, in a place where many of them have grown up and lived and worked for many decades. But at this stage they said it's safer for them to go home and avoid some of the potential violence we've seen in previous years, Rob.
Willem, just briefly tell us what is going to happen next, because as you say, the flag bearers are gathering in the kind of amphitheatre that you were talking about outside Damascus Gate. What happens next once they have gathered into what they regard as a large enough crowd?
Well, we expect that much larger numbers of people are going to flood into this area behind me. The police have constructed a series of walls and fences to try and funnel the marchers in a specific direction. They'll come down into this space. You can see there's a huge number of police around here, so we expect that there will just be more singing, more dancing, perhaps what they would call celebrating of this National Day here in Jerusalem. The concern the police have, and many Palestinians inside the old city have, is that some of those individuals will then go inside the parts of the old city where there may still be some businesses open, and that could lead to increased tensions, Rob.
Willem Marx talking to us from Damascus Gate in occupied East Jerusalem.